What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's stream. I'm not a big fan of this argument. I've said it many times. I'm a very, very, very big fan of Zaniolo, and I'm definitely one of his fans, which needs to gives him time, because I know what happened to him. And I have full faith in Zaniolo. I think he has incredible potentials. I think in these last couple of weeks, in fact, he's been grinding more and more. But unfortunately yesterday the transfer market ended. And every time the transfer market ends, the day after, Thiago Pinto has a press conference speaking about the players he bought, the players he didn't manage to get, and what the future objectives in the transfer market topic are. And he mentioned something which, I do think it's a bit too early to say, it's very worrying what he said. But I have a feeling what he said today, and I'm about to read it to you guys, is a hint or a warning, if you see where I'm going. I think, in a way, I really hope I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that Thiago Pinto kind of is anticipating what will happen this summer. Because he knows, Mourinho, everyone representing Roma knows that the fans love Zaniolo. And I've said it many times, you can probably see it from my stadium vlogs. Zaniolo is the player that the fans love the most. They believe in him, they believe he can become the new Totti, they know his potentials. So the fans absolutely admire and love Zaniolo. Now, what I think Thiago Pinto said today is something to, in a way, prepare the fans and make them aware that, things between us, the fans, and Zaniolo could break apart this summer. Now, because it will be there, this summer there will be a big doubt on Zaniolo. And, this is something I already talked about. This is something I will talk about in this live stream. There is a big question mark on Zaniolo, and for new people who subscribe lately, I'll repeat what is going on with Zaniolo in a couple of seconds. But basically, what Thiago Pinto has said today, let me get the direct quotations, is, where is it? There you go. He said, I can't guarantee Zaniolo will be a Roma player next year. Now, obviously, Thiago Pinto hasn't said he's leaving this summer. This is something I want you guys to, to acknowledge. What Thiago Pinto said today is not Zaniolo will leave, and it's a very different thing, because he would never say that in January. But at the same time, I also think he would never have said this he would never say this in January as well. I have a feeling things between Thiago Pinto, Zaniolo, and Zaniolo's agents are very, very, very hard. Zaniolo's character himself he's very, very, very hard to convince. He's got that sort of character. But the fact that Thiago Pinto today said, I can't guarantee Zaniolo being a new Roma player, in my opinion, my view on this is that, obviously, as I said before, he's not trying to say Zaniolo will 100% leave, but in a way he's preparing the fans. Because if Zaniolo leaves Roma, a similar situation to Vlahovic leaving Fiorentina will happen. So he's kind of preparing the fans. He's kind of saying, I know that you guys love him. He loves you. But if we were, I'm just saying it, we might have to break apart this summer. We might have to break up. And that's just the way it is. This is not big news. The fact that we might break up from Zaniolo this summer it's nothing new to us. And it's definitely gonna be the big question mark of this summer's transfer market. For new people who subscribed lately, what's happening with Zaniolo is that obviously Mancini has renewed his contract a few days ago, and Mourinho, Thiago Pinto, the Fredkins, next objective is to renew Zaniolo's contract. However, Zaniolo wants an increase in wages, which, for a club like Roma, might, if the Roma says yes to Zaniolo, yes, we will increase your wages, then they will need to increase wages to other players who want so. So it's the fact that we're not an economic superpower means that we need to be gentle and delicate in these things, because yes, you are Zaniolo, but at the same time, if I'm gonna increase your wages, then I need to do the same. If Tammy, for example, asks me, I need to do the same, because otherwise it's not fair. So it's delicate, and basically what Roma is trying to do is convince him to higher his wages, but not the same amount as he would like to, which, they're trying to find a compromise here. Thiago Pinto is really relying on Zaniolo's agents. Zaniolo's agents need to play a big part in this. Because Zaniolo's agents have direct contacts with him. They need to be a big part of this. And, they need to have direct contacts with Thiago Pinto, because Thiago Pinto obviously needs to convince Zaniolo first, and then Zaniolo needs to talk with his agents and everyone. His agents need to play a big part in this. Now, I've said it many times, Zaniolo in many interviews has said, I want to become the new Francesco Totti. If you were to leave, then that dream vanishes away, because, as I say it every time, Totti refused to go to Real Madrid, where he would have probably won a Champions League and possibly a Ballon d'Or as well. So, hard work and determination. And, if Zaniolo was to leave, then the only thing he would care about is money, which nowadays is the classic topic in football. But speaking about that, just before that, I have a feeling, I understand that, Roma needs to be careful with these financial things. I totally understand, the club in general, when they say, no, we can't hire your wages as much as you want to. I understand that, because I am conscious of the fact that we are not a big economic superpower of football. And I totally get the Friedkins when they say, we cannot, increase your wages, because otherwise we need to do the same thing. However, one thing which really, 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 really annoys me is something which has been following and tracing Roma for quite a long while. And when Pallotta left, us fans kind of hoped that this topic, these situations would have probably faded away as well. But if Zaniolo was to leave, then Roma would continue to prove to us fans that the second they've got a talent, the second they've got a player with potentials, they give him away. And this is something these clubs need to work on. Because if we keep on doing this, just put aside the fact that we don't have infinite amount of money. That is definitely something to take in account. And yes, some big players will eventually need to be sold. But this does not mean that in the last 10 years, every single talent we had needs to go away. And this is a very big topic. Because if Roma hadn't sold on anyone, God, the team which would come out would be insane. Mo Salah, Alisson in goal, Rudiger in defense, Pjanic, all of these players, Nainggolan, if we put them together in a starting 11, we would compete for the Scudetto, and that's a fact. I don't care if you hate Roma, I don't care if you're a hater. If we would not have sold anyone, we would definitely compete for the Scudetto. This is a problem that this club has had for quite a long while. If we continuously give away our biggest players, we will never, ever, ever end up in any amount of we'll never achieve our objectives. And that's just the way it is. If we have a talent, we raise the talent. He's got massive potentials. He's got potentials in this league. What do? We sell him. Then us fans can't expect this team to compete for higher and higher objectives every time. This is definitely something that the Friedkins need to work on. And this is definitely something that the Friedkins know about. Because, when Pallotta was basically left, the city of Rome, all of the Roma fans were exploding. They couldn't believe it. We got rid of a president who sold our biggest players, who only cared about money. It was amazing. But what I have a feeling is that, yes, the Friedkins have took over, but they don't need to make the same mistakes, because it will cause us a lot of problems. We can't keep on selling big players, and the the biggest players. Because otherwise, something to add on to that is that if basically every year we sell 1 to 2 big players, then in a way it's kind of building a Lego structure, calling your little brother and smashing it, and you gotta rebuild it again. It's basically the same cycle. We're building a team, we're having top players, yes, oh, he's great, yes, oh, he's got potentials, we're building this team, and then we sell them, and this entire tower collapses. You know, it's also kind of something which kind of avoids the transfer market, because I have a feeling if Roma wouldn't have sold anyone, they would not be that active in the transfer market. Now, I'm not saying they would not buy anyone, but they would definitely be less active on it. You know, if, you know, it all traces back to a long while ago. You know, I'm not blaming the Fredkins here. Who I'm blaming is Pallotta for starting this kind of trend. I understand, and this is something I'll say it again, I totally get it. You know, there will be times where big players need to be sacrificed. And that's just the way it is. You know, we're not just forget that. You know, there will be times where big players will need to be sacrificed, and you know that's totally fine for a club which is not PSG, who's not Manchester City. But this doesn't mean that every single top player we have, we then eventually sell him, because otherwise, then we can't expect anything big. So you know, this is obviously out of, I mean, most of the players which the Pallotta ended up selling were players which wanted to stay at Roma. This is kind of a different situation, because yes, Zaniolo loves the fans, yes, he loves the city, yes, he loves the team, but if he really wants to stay, then he can give up those few £1 million and sacrifice them. You know, so Mo Salah, when he left, he was very gutted because he didn't want to leave. You know, Alisson, when he left after that amazing Champions League year where we got in a semi-final, didn't want to leave. And that was just Pallotta selling him because the only thing he cared about was money. Nainggolan is the perfect example. Nainggolan has this team, this city in his heart. He never wanted to leave. You know, I think Nainggolan would accept a $2 bid to come back to Roma. And I would, you know, the sacrifices Nainggolan would make to get back being in this club, if it means starting it in the starting 11, sitting on the bench, it would, you know, Nainggolan would love getting back at Roma. You know, these players got sold to their own surprise because they were not expecting it. Zaniolo, on the other hand, is kind of pushing the Fredkins to sell him in a way. And this is one of the few situations where if Zaniolo eventually leaves, then 80% of it is his fault and 20% of it is the Fredkins' fault. You know, he is causing unnecessary problems. You have got the money. You do not lack money. You have got the talent. You have got basically a very significant role in this team. You've got a very special relationship with fans. You've got everything a player needs at his own club. And as I repeat, he doesn't lack the money. And what he does, he causes unnecessary problems because he wants a higher wage. Then fuck it, all the things you said about being the new Francesco Totti, you know, the fuck being, I will be the new legend at Roma. No, that's just collapsed because, you know, eventually we understand that the only thing you care about is money. And, you know, I'm not saying it's just Zaniolo, because nowadays football is only about that. Nowadays in football, you will never, ever see, and, you know, future generations, you will never, ever see a Francesco Totti nowadays in football. Go watch highlights on YouTube, because you will never, ever see a player like Totti, like Gerrard, like Maldini at AC Milan. You will never. It's impossible. It is bloody impossible. So, you know, it's just the way it is. Football is completely transformed. Now, obviously, we need to try and infiltrate the positives out of this negative situation. The positives would be that if we sell Zaniolo, we would definitely sell him for a good amount of money. You know, Kulusevski yesterday went to Tottenham on a loan, and if Tottenham want to buy him, they need to pay £40 million. fairly speaking, if Kulusevski is worth £40 million, Zaniolo is worth £80 million, and that's facts. Clubs will not buy Zaniolo for £80 million. I do think if we were to sell Zaniolo, we would sell him for around 65 to 70 million pounds, which would be great. If you add on Veretout leaving this summer, you can reach big substantial parts and amounts of money. You can buy very experienced, very good players with that money. But obviously, Zaniolo was a talent. He had potentials, and selling him, I do think, I'm a Zaniolo fan, is a waste of. It's just nonsense. But we'll see how this situation ends up. And this is definitely a big topic we'll talk about this summer, in June, May even, because I do think we will get the confirmation. I mean, journalists were saying that optimism was circulating around the air a few weeks ago. Now I do think, we will know, in these next couple of weeks, Thiago Pinto will definitely try and contact his agents. They'll definitely try and convince Zaniolo. I do think we will get a final decision around the start of March, end of March, start of April. That is when we will actually know if Zaniolo will continue to wear a Roma jersey next season, or if he will leave. And clubs who will buy him, I know Juventus are very interested in him. I can't see Zaniolo joining Juventus. Please, God, don't let this guy join the cheats of Italy. I pray. Go in the Premier League, go in La Liga, go in the Bundesliga. Do not go in the Serie. Just don't change team in the Serie A, in my opinion. But Juventus are definitely a team which are trying to buy him. And I know big clubs in Conte wants him at Tottenham. Conte wanted him back Conte wanted him at Inter when he was an Inter manager. And yeah. If we sell Zaniolo, we should not accept anything less than 40 million. I think he's worth more, to be honest with you. I think in the second half, Zaniolo will prove his worth. Either he will sign or at least increase his transfer value. I trust in Pinto and Jose to build a quality team with or without Zaniolo, says Michael Cabral. Nobody will pay 60 million for injury-prone player. I know where you're going. I understand Khalid.h52 what you're saying, but this is another thing to talk about. Roma needs to have the power of saying, no, I am not giving you Zaniolo for less than an amount of money. And this is something that Roma is another thing which they're absolutely shit at. Roma get too much carried away by compromises, because Roma go to, they meet, Thiago Pinto meets the agents of Tottenham, for example, who wants Spurs, and get too much carried away in compromises. Thiago Pinto needs to start saying no and turn down bids if they're not that amount of money that Roma want. And I know that things will change if he does renew his contract, but this does apply to Zaniolo if he does renew his contract. If Zaniolo renews his contract, and in a couple of years big clubs want him, then Thiago Pinto needs to learn to say, no, I am not giving Zaniolo for less than 60 million pounds. You want Zaniolo, you pay 60 million pounds. You don't want Zaniolo, leave this meeting right now. And this is something Thiago Pinto needs to work on, because we get too much carried away with compromises. An example of this is, what's his name? Is Strootman. Strootman was an amazing player at Roma. He was an amazing midfielder. Pallotta got too much carried away by Olympique Marseille when they bought Strootman. Strootman at that time came from a semi-final in the Champions League. He was one of the best midfielders in this area. His value was around 30 to 40 million pounds. And Pallotta was just too much carried away by compromises, and then he ended up leaving Roma at around 20 to 25 million pounds. It is woeful. These people need to start saying, no, if you want him, you need to pay the amount of money I tell you. And it does apply to Zaniolo if he renews his contract, because if he does renew his contract, then Roma can't do anything about it. He will leave. The risk is basically making Zaniolo leave for free. And this is where Thiago Pinto needs to be very careful at. But ladies and gentlemen, I will catch you tomorrow for another live stream. Preparations for Genoa tomorrow. Must win on Saturday. I always say it, but we need to win. We have to get the 3 points. And hopefully Zaniolo plays well, talking about him. Subscribe if you're new, ladies and gentlemen. We're 30 subscribers away from 2K. So please subscribe if you're new. Share the link with your families and friends. Subscribe to my second channel, all about travel vlogs and stuff. I've got good plans on that channel as well, so subscribe to that. Link is in description below. Follow me on Instagram at _the Simon Show. And like this live stream as soon as it becomes a video.